So before you take the door off, first you need to pry off this connection on here. Normally it's just laying on top and locked in, and the way how I took it off, it's kind of hard to take off, but I just went from the bottom. You can see right here at this bottom screw, there's this connection that, I don't know if there's enough light, there you go, that locks it in. After I popped this off, then the top peeled off. So just want to point that out. And then there's 2 screws to take off. There's 2 screws before you can pop off the door. They all use a star nuts, and that's how I took them off from inside. After those 2 are off, now I'm going to use this putty knife to slide in between the door at the bottom and then start popping off, pulling it off. So finally, after a couple of minutes, I don't want to redo this again, but after using this kind of like sheetrock putty knife, flat surface gadget, just going through all the edges and popping them out, finally this is now off, ready to take out. And then all you do is you just pull this upward, and then it goes over that and it comes right off. Before we take this off, before we take the cover off, we have to take this blue wire off. There's this white little connection right here. Both end is clipped onto it. You clip off with a flathead screwdriver. I already clipped off some of it. You clip off the top part, then you clip off the bottom part. Now this is free, and after it's free, you can wiggle this out and disconnect the blue cable. So now we have this blue cable off. It's down to 3 connections right here. First one is this black one right here. You let's see, how do we get this off? Okay, so this black one, there are 2 little knobs on the side. You push it down and then pulls right out. You can see those 2 little knobs. You just push it down, pulls right out. So that's number 1. Number 2 is this blue cable right here, this blue connection. You can see if you pick up this black little connector right here, you just pull it back, this thing comes out. And then the third thing is this yellow orange connection. There's this little lever right here that you push in, and then you pull that out. That's how you take out this. And then now you can freely take out this whole panel. So before we can take off this membrane, we need to take off the speaker. There are 3 screws, and then there's a wire right here. It's covered up by this panel. Sometimes it's hard to get to the connection of that wire right there. If you want to take off this plastic black molding, be aware that there is a nut right there, plastic nut, and you just try to find like a flathead screwdriver or something like that, and you can just pop it out like so. And after that's out, you can take this off, and then now you can get to this connector. As you can see, the connector is right here, and then you just push it down, and then there you go, it's off. After you take out the speaker and you take out these connections and everything, now we can take this water vapor barrier / sound barrier thing, and it's just like this gluey type membrane that sticks it to the door, and then you just slowly and carefully just pull them back, and you can pull this whole thing back. So before I take this panel out, you need to take out this screw, and then after the screw is out, so in order to take this switch out, if you want to, there's 4 connections on it that holds this assembly in place. The first one is on the side right here. You want to kind of pop this in like that, push it down, and then we'll flip this around, and then it looks just like this on this other side. So you kind of want to pop this down too. Well, this one needs to pop from the side. There we go. And then there's a third connector right here, which I guess this was kind of loose, and this pops up. So after you have all three of those popped out, then you just push this downward. After this is pushed downward, you can see it's at an angle, then you pull it back. So as you can see, there's this connection right here. On the back there's another one right here. This front one is what holds it upward, and then this back one is what you pull it down with. So that's how you take this thing out. So after you have this assembly out, you can connect it back onto here, just like how you take it out. You pop it in, push it down, and you put this down. And the reason why I'm putting this back in is because I want to diagnose, see what's wrong with this motor right here, because the motor doesn't work. But after you have this assembly in, you can mess with this and mess around with it. If you need to replace the glass or anything like that, it's just good to have full control without this plastic on here, but still can control the motor. But you can still have the option to control the motor. So right here, we need to disconnect the connector. We're down to the motor right here. So if you look underneath this maroon red connector to the side, you can see this little gap, and you can stick a flathead and then pull it down. Well, it looks like it's not working like that. Or you can just put some pressure on top right here on both sides. Just put a little bit of pressure on both sides, as you can see. So this red thing moves down, and then you can just push it backwards. There we go. We disconnected the connection. Now there's 3 star screws right here. Disconnect them. 1, 2, 3. Alright, after you take that out, remove these screws. Okay, so now this whole thing comes out. You just have to put equal pressure on all 3 corners, and you need to kind of move it out with equal force and parallel. Just start wiggling it out and give it equal force on every. There we go. That's how you take out the motor. And you can see this is where the cable connection, and this is the reason why you need to put equal force, is because if you look at the gear right here, you can see there's a gear connection that fits perfectly in here. So if you push too much force on the left and not on the right, it kind of locks everything in. So you have to put equal force on each side to pop this out. I have the window motor out, and there's 4 screws. I'm just going to take these 4 screws out. I'm going to double check to see if I can also, I could buy this whole assembly. It's about $120 online. I could just replace this whole assembly, but a lot of times the motor itself is just, some connectivity is bad, so I'm just going to take 4 screws out and then see if I can repair the motor instead of spending $120 replacing this whole assembly. So all 4 screws are out, and then wiggle this back and forth. This comes out like that. We can see there is a circuit card, the 2 power connection. Let's try to refocus that a little bit. Okay, there we go. There's a regulator card and these 2 pins right here. That's to give power to this this motor right here, and then what I want to see is I need to try to see if I can fix this to make it move again, because earlier it wouldn't move. So after I took that out, I sprayed it a little bit, and then I put back the screws in. I didn't record that part, but it's the same method. After you take it out, you just make sure that you align the two connectors that I showed earlier, and then you just put this back in. I just sprayed it real quick, and I couldn't really see anything wrong with it. The connectors looked fine and everything looked fine, so maybe like this mechanism up here, maybe this was stuck instead of motor being bad. Either way, I'm going to connect it real quick and power it up and see if it works. So it's like that, and this goes in like that. Alright, and let's start up the car real quick and see if it works. Okay, I'm going to try out the button. Okay, so that it works. The motor works. I'm going to try figure out what else is wrong. So since the motor works, and let's say you replaced a brand new mechanism for 120 bucks, connect the connection right there, and I'm going to try to wiggle this back in here. So you need to you don't want to damage the gears, the teeth, the gear teeth, which connects inside, so you have to align it and then just slowly put pressure on each side, and then after that, then just stick it in. Alright, it's all in, and now I'm just going to put back the screws real quick. Let's see. Okay. Screw one. Screw two. And as you can see, I'm not putting in all the screws all the way tight in it. I'm just putting them in, and I kind of want to equally put the same amount of force and slowly tie this in, because I don't want to damage the gear. So I kind of give each one like 2-3 turns, and then I rotate between them 2-3 turns. And two turns right there, 2 turns right there, 2 turns right there. Right, I think it's almost there. A few more turns right here. Right here. Yep, that's tight. That's tight. Okay, so this all the way in. Maybe double check. Oh, there we go. So as you can see, I didn't give them all equal amount of pressure, so equal amount of force sinking this motor back into it, so it was at a slight angle. Luckily it still fit in good. So I'm going to try turning it on again. I'm going to try moving the window down. Alright, and it works now. Great. So that's how you replace the motor assembly.